2018 was the worst and best year of my life because of the changes that I went through. I In October of 2018, which is when this whole thing started, this whole journey of mine started. And I think about it as the month that I died was October in 2018. And I died because I want to say that the only time that I have ever felt so overwhelmed with my emotions and so lonely, so sad, so just over everything wasn't that month. Like I felt like I was done. I felt like I was done being here. I felt like I did not want to be here anymore. It was the first time that I just felt so unloved and so worthless that I wanted to die. And that was very sad to me. It was sad. And I want to say that like what got me through that was my anger. It really was. And I'll get into that. But 2018 had just not been great. In the beginning of that year, like the boyfriend that I had back then, we broke up in March because he broke up with me because I didn't want to do anal, and I told him, I'm like, well, I just don't want to. I don't like it. It hurts, and there's women out there who love it, who will ask for it. It is not me. So we broke up, and we got back together like a week later. Yes, I was an idiot. I was stupid, but it just happened. Um, we got back together, and the next few months were just like kind of awful. And by June, I realized like, oh my god, this relationship sucks. Like he does not care about me. Like he doesn't even care about my birthday. Like none of it. And by October, it was just so over. It was just so done. And so we had taken. I still was trying. I was still trying any approach. And when I think back on what I did, I feel so stupid, honestly. But by October, yeah, we had decided to take a few days of space to calm down because all we were doing was arguing and fighting. Like there was just absolutely no respect left in the relationship. We would cuss each other out, cuss about each other's families, parents, sisters, whatever. It does not matter. We were talking shit, and we had taken 3 or 4 days of time apart. So in those days, I had really sat there and thought, and I'm like, okay, well, if I want to continue this relationship, like I really have to try. I can't just hold him. I can't hold on to the grudges that I did, um, from our past, right? Like, if I want to try over or try again, like I really want to give it all. I want to try and I want to put effort into it and actually be a good girlfriend, and try to just improve anything that I was lacking in. Um, so yeah, so I called him back the 3 or 4 days later, that had passed. And the first thing this man says to me is, oh, I thought I was single. So I said, okay, then go be single. And we never got back together. After that, we did speak again. There was more to this story that I will get into later, but it was done. It was just done. It felt really good. I felt so relieved. I felt so happy. I felt great. Let me let me take you back to the beginning of the year in 2018. Um, my mom and I had gone out to eat, and it was the first time I had had ice cream at this restaurant. So my mom took a picture of me and she had sent it to my dad, who was in prison. I did not know she had done that. If I had known, I would have told her not to because I knew what was coming. But for the next 10 months, anytime that my dad would call, he would just kind of talk to me about my weight. And he's always done that. Like, I will get into that in another video about my weight and my dad. But for 10 months, he would just talk to me my weight, tell me I need to lose weight, tell me I need to work out, tell me I'm gaining weight. And it made me not want to talk to him anymore. But it was just very hurtful. And then my mom and I just have always had issues with our relationship. And that year, I had just snapped. I snapped, and I had never kissed my mom until that day, and I told her to fuck off because she would not leave me alone. I had a dildo in my room, and I was trying to hide it, and she was trying to go through my room. I was, what, 18, 19 at that time, but um, she was trying to go through it, and I was trying to hide it because it's embarrassing. And she was like accusing me of hiding drugs or something. I don't know, but it was just embarrassing. So I just snapped and I just told her to fuck off. And she doesn't understand English well. So she thought I said fuck you to her. And she told my dad that at that time, that I had said that. So then she told me that my dad had told her that he wished that I was a single mother. He would have preferred me to be a single mother instead of me being disrespectful to my mom. And that hurt because I'm like, why would you ever wish that on me? Why would you ever even say that? Why would you even put me in that in the same category? And why would you want that? Like, why would you even say that? Especially when you're not here, you don't know what's going on. You don't know anything that's been going on. So why would you do that? Like, that's just so rude. And yeah. So in by October, I realized it was my moment that I realized that I had free will, and I just stopped answering my calls, like the calls from my dad from prison. I was like, oh, I don't have to talk to you. You're not gonna come over here. Like, I don't have to talk to you. So I didn't. Like, I just stopped answering his calls. And with my mom, like, I just tried to communicate better and try to work on it. It did not work because we had many arguments after that. But we lived together. We were living together at the time, and I felt like I had to keep the peace and be respectful because that is my mother. And yeah, that's kind of how it went. But there's obviously more that was leading up to this moment and why I had felt so overwhelmed. And honestly, it felt like I had just been fighting for years. I felt like anything that I said, anything that I tried to do, I felt like I just had to constantly fight and fight and fight. And I was so tired. I was so tired by then. I was just tired. I was so tired. I just did not want to keep going. I feel like I could keep going, but I didn't want to keep going. And I decided, like, okay, no, I really, like, this is not something light, but it was the first time in my life that I had ever felt so down that I did not want to be on this earth anymore. And I just sat there and thought about it and tried to think, literally thought about everything. And I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I said that my anger is what got me through everything. I sat there and I thought about, like, the people that would be happy if I did, delete myself. And that really irritated me. That made me mad. I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to give these people the satisfaction, and I just don't want to. But I did want to die. I wanted not to be, I didn't want to be me. Like, the person that I was, I didn't like who I was. I felt like a pushover. I felt like a fucking doormat to everybody in my life. I didn't like it. And I realized, oh yeah, my anger. The first time I sat there and thought that was when I thought about what my dad had said to me. My dad was over there talking. He said something. He was talking shit about me to my mom. And then when she would hand the phone to me, he would act nice and be like, oh, hey, sweetie. And that really bothered me and angered me because I'm like, don't be fake. Keep that same energy. Be consistent. If you're going to talk shit to my face. Say shit to my face. Don't be all nice and sweet to me and then go back and talk to my mom, who is obviously going to tell me. She shouldn't have, and I think she did it because she was a little jealous of my relationship with my dad, but, don't do that. And I just stopped answering his call. That was one thing. I felt like he had so much power over me, and all I had to do was just not answer his call. With my boyfriend, with the ex that I had, like, I let it go. I just stopped. It was not worth it, and it felt so good. And then I did sit there and think about the people that would be relieved if I harmed myself, and I was not having it. I was not having it. So I do see it, and I do believe that people should die when they are alive. I feel like if you do not like yourself, if you hate something about yourself, if you have just lost yourself, and that's another thing, like, I felt so gross. I felt dirty. I felt like inside I just felt so angry and bitter, and I had been carrying stuff for so long, and I was just so over it. I was just so done. But I'm just like, okay, I cannot do this. Like, I have to change. Something has to change. Like, I have to change myself, and I have to be better. I cannot be. And I honestly, like, I did not want to be 45 years old carrying that stuff into that age. I'm like 45 years old. I don't want to be carrying. I don't want to be hurting. I don't want to be stuck on the same stuff that I had since a child or my teenage years or my, anything in life. I do not want to carry that on at such a big age. Because I don't know if you guys have met anybody who is like 45 to 60 years old and they're still talking about the things they went through when they were younger. And I don't want to be that person. And unfortunately, I am, because I have procrastinated on this channel and starting it. So, yeah. That's how it started. I felt like I needed to find a way to heal myself, to find a way to get back to myself and the person that I wanted to be, and my pure self, my original self, without being like cluttered and filtered by the people around me. And I'm not saying like to be a butthead, but just to be myself, to be my true self, to not be an anxious wreck or who has panic attacks and all of that.